All right, our final, and I would argue most important KPI for running a better 60 is going to be your flying sprint time, or in our case, a flying 10 time. Now, with a flying sprint, you usually get some sort of buildup into what you call a flying window where it's usually time. Now, the pull point of the run up is to let the athlete achieve their top speed and then measure any length of segment at their top speed to get their best, see what their max velocity is at that time. So for us, we use a flying 10. So we give the athletes a 20-yard buildup into a flying 10-yard window. So we just measure 10 yards. So the total sprint is about 30. So in the case of a 60, okay, let's use two athletes here. So we have athlete A, athlete B. Athlete A, okay, runs at a top speed of 20.5 miles per hour, which gives us a 1 second flat flying 10. Athlete B runs 17.5 miles per hour, which gives us a 1.16 flying 10. So about a tenth and a half difference through 10 yards. Okay. So if we play this out over an entire 60, now let's just say that the two athletes are equal through 20 yards. Okay. So we're at 2.8 seconds through 20 yards. So if athlete A is to average their max speed, now obviously a little give and take here and there, but let's just say they average through the remaining 40 yards. They're going to cover that in 4 seconds flat. Okay. 1 second flying 10 times 4 flat. Okay. If athlete B averages their 17.5 miles per hour top speed through that remaining 40 yards, they're going to cover that same distance in 4.64 seconds. So about 2/3 of a second difference. And that is exactly why having better top speed is so important. Okay. One saying I really like to use is, you can cruise in a Lambo. It's hard to punch it in a Prius. If you have the horses to just run faster than somebody else, it is going to play out in whatever close plays, any routine plays. You're spending less effort doing that because your top speed, okay, is X amount higher. You're able to cruise at those subsequent miles per hour that other athletes just can't hit. Okay, so for example, athlete A can cruise at 18.5 miles per hour. That's a full mile per hour above athlete B's absolute max. Okay, so that's the reason you want to get yourself, it's called speed reserve. Okay, if you can increase your speed reserve, obviously just having the horses to run faster is going to be crucial. But then having that extra speed reserve where you can now cruise at numbers that are higher than other people's maxes is going to keep you in better shape, and it's going to allow you to play the game at a much faster speed than anybody else. So how we train max velocity then is we have our athletes do flying sprints at minimum once a week, and we try to get them twice depending on how many days they're coming in. The main reason for that is if you don't train max velocity sprinting or any max effort sort of thing, it begins to diminish. The skill begins to diminish at about 5 days, give or take. Okay, so we need to give our athletes enough rest to make sure that their subsequent day is as intense as the first day. But also, if we can hit it more, then we can push the ceiling on that skill, just like anything else, just like lifting weights, jumping, throwing, any of that sort of stuff. But again, with max velocity sprinting, rest is crucial. So you want to try to at least get 48 to 72 hours in between sessions. So really the moral of the story is sprint as fast as possible, as often as possible, with as much rest as possible.